Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is. Okay, so sorry I'm late. If I told you I was taking a shower, would that make a difference? I took a shower and because I went running outside. I'm gonna wear a hat today. We're going to talk about a lot. We got Tommy that's joining us. Tommy Carrigan is going to be joining us as well. He is a co-host on Untamed Nation. And we're going to dive into the heart of election integrity and justice in America. And so we had this on yesterday. We played it probably 6 or 7 times. There is a Venezuelan government official came forward in sworn testimony, exposed vulnerabilities in Smartmatic voting systems. He actually didn't just talk about Smartmatic voting systems, which, by the way, is the same substructure as Dominion. Matter of fact, we actually know from facts, including reports that date back all the way to the beginning part of 2009, sorry, when they were selling Sequoia, which was the chief architect was Eric Coomer specifically, that they would be able to retain all of the intellectual property for Sequoia in the move, keeping the same substructure. So we know that that's the case, and we know a bunch of other things that we've been able to put together. But frankly, there's some things that are pretty disturbing about this. One of which is Tina Peters is still behind bars for exposing these flaws, and it came to my attention that somebody called me and said that the DOJ, that the second in command for DOJ, I don't know if that means second in command of a field office or second in command, meaning an AUSA, it will not sign off on Tina Peters being released. So I don't know yet if that is confirmed or not, but I will tell you that if that is the case, that's pretty disturbing. And just yet another example of people working against the better interest of President Trump. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then joining us will be a decorated Marine Corps veteran, Don Workman. He's a patriot. He served multiple deployments in the Middle East and put his life on the line for the country. He shares his personal journey from serving in combat to participating in the events of January 6th. He was there, and the price he paid for standing by his principles, including a raid on his home, and eventually got a presidential pardon by President Trump. His perspective kind of bridges the military service. So he served the country and got attacked by the same country that he served and the people that he stood up for. And so it's going to be, he also had a podcast before, if I remember it correctly. Decided to step away from that. Podcasting is different. Broadcasting is different. It's, to do this every day for a couple hours takes a lot. It takes a lot. So we're very blessed to have a loyal audience, and we're thankful for them. But I went back and watched a few of the things that Don had done before. Pretty amazing stuff. So now let's talk to you about the part. I'm going to talk about this because we have, one of the things that we talked about is that Con Inc., Conservative Inc., completely proved me wrong. They proved me wrong. Yesterday, this video got put out there, and Conservative Inc., the Jack Prosobics, all the people that said, hey, the election was stolen. We know it's stolen. They were on top of it. They were so on top of it. So they did so much for us to make sure that Tina Peters gets out of jail. I mean, every time they get a chance to make a post that can get 500,000 or go viral, they do it. And this was yesterday after a whistleblower that worked for the Venezuelan government, that was involved in Sequoia, was involved in the Smartmatic, which, by the way, is still operating on U.S. soil. But I want you to play this. I found this. This was Con Inc., people that on the Conservative Inc., the influencers that were out there just beating the drum about this monumental deposition that was done by this person that put himself in jeopardy. Let's go ahead and play cut one. Oh, guys, listen, that's not funny. I'm kind of angry right now. All right. So let's just skip over. This is probably one of the biggest influencers, if not the biggest influencer in the country, that has been beating the drum, was stood in front of President Trump, said, we know the election was stolen. Go ahead and play cut two. Guys, you're not really going to do this to me, are you? Okay, here is third biggest, one of the biggest advocates for election integrity. I mean, when this deposition was actually released and was released in full, and it played over and over and over again, was the first one to say, hey, we have to look at this. Let's play cut three. Oh, that's right. That's right. I totally forgot. A has-been that used to be in the FBI, that story came out. It's going to get more clicks. But standing up for a Gold Star mom, yeah, Conservative Inc. was completely silent. It's as if somebody had picked up the phone and called all the way across and said, don't let anybody see this. Patrick Byrne was out there. Probably, by the way, I keep saying this about Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne is probably one of the most underrated, underappreciated people in the entire country. Put his own money on the line. And there's a lot of influencers that he funded. There's a lot of people that he funded, a lot of lawsuits that he funded, a lot of events that he funded. And everyone wants to take credit. And the one thing I'll say about Patrick Byrne, he's taken zero credit. Zero. He flew all over the country, all over the world. And by the way, I happen to know that there are over a dozen people that I haven't met these people. Patrick has done more than his fair share going to places that are dangerous. He's done, man, I can't even put a number or a figure on the amount of things that he has done to help restore order in our country. He deserves the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And they'll sully the water and muddy the water and say, oh, yeah, Patrick, yeah. It's always Con Inc. that does that, by the way. People that, by the way, have never accomplished anything in your life. He was the CEO of Overstock. And I went sideways with Patrick in 2021 for really stupid reasons. And I've regretted it ever since. And when I started to watch everything that Patrick does, you can see that he operates with a massive amount of humility. And he lives out 1 John 3:16, which is that Jesus gave up his life, so you should be willing to give up your life for your brothers. He's done that. And while he was battling an illness that I won't talk about, it's his to talk about, he continued to fight. I continue to go to places all over the world, making sure that he could get to the bottom of this fraud. So he deserves major accolades for the work that he's done. But as we just had with cut 1, 2, and 3, you can see that there's a lot of conservative people that are out there that have a bullhorn that have gotten right on the fact that Tina Peters is still rotting in jail. It's easier to say, it's easier to talk about things when it's just please let Tina out. But when you have real evidence that literally points to the demons that have done real harm to our country, they're frozen in time. It's not important enough because, what if I don't get enough clicks on that? Can't stand up for the truth because somebody actually picked up the phone and says, yeah, let's not talk about that. Takes 2 or 3 or 4 days. And I'm talking major publications, people out there that have been silent on it. Silent. I started to realize one thing, though, and that one thing is this. I was the most popular guy in Conservative Inc. when they were taking money from me. I funded podcasters. I built things. Mike took money from me. I was the most popular guy. And when I had enough and said, look, I'm no longer going to be anybody's daddy and I'm not going to let people suck off of me after spending, I don't know, north of $10 million. That may not be a lot for a lot of people, but I mean, it was a large majority of my holdings, but I spent it. I was like, it doesn't matter anyway. They're going to come for me. I better do everything I can to try and secure our elections. I talk about this every day. There's not a day. You could probably go through every podcast and I'll talk about the fact that we need to get rid of machines and mail-in ballots. I don't have billions to spend. But no matter what happened, I was always the guy they wanted to take shots at, because as soon as the money ran out and I stopped paying people, they all decided, oh yeah, Joe, I can't believe he stopped paying me. It's crazy. The entire conservative movement at the top of this pyramid is atrocious. It's no different than the left. Although the left funds all of those people, makes them fat and happy. Not happy. I'm not jaded at all by it. I am jaded by what they did to Tina and the fact that people have just remained silent. So before we go to our guest, I want to tell you about this thing we got going on with Goldco. You guys have seen that the price of gold has gone up again, another 4%. They've helped thousands of Americans like you and me and have placed over $3 billion in gold and silver. They've earned over 7,000 five-star reviews, and they are A-rated by the Better Business Bureau and have won numerous awards. Numerous. So you can get a free kit. It's a free 2025 gold and silver kit, which has so much information, just for the information itself, and it's free. Now, whether you do it now or you do it later, you buy gold or silver, you're going to want to do it because we have had a massive devaluation of the dollar. And you can do it by turning your cash into gold, or you can do it by converting 401ks or IRAs. But I'm not sure I'm not sure, based on where we're going in the divide we're in, that there isn't a safer place to put your money. They're a trusted partner of mine, and they offer you for this, and I don't know how long it's going to go on, but an unlimited instant match in bonus silver on qualified purchases. So while companies have these special promotions where it's easy to spend a wild amount of money, you have to qualify. Goldco just makes it easy, and you get that unlimited silver bonus on your purchases no matter what it is. You could go up and spend $6,000, $5,000, $3,000, or you can spend $300,000. The sky's the limit. I've seen a lot of deals out there with metals, and this one, hands down, I think is intriguing given what the prices are. So all you have to do is visit untamedgold.com or call 844-960-GOLD. That's 844-960-4653, and you get a free kit. Just get the kit. And go to untamedgold.com, or you can call them while you're listening to the show. Actually, I prefer you do it after. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about our guests, because Tommy's here too. I can see him now. So Don has a military background. He has multiple deployments to the Middle East. He was in the Marine Corps. And he was involved in January 6th. So he went and hung out at the festivities with the 275 or so FBI agents. He must have rubbed shoulders with at least one of those guys during that time. He didn't know it yet, but he was getting set up. Faced government retaliation for his actions. He had a raid on his home last summer. Let me put this in last summer. So a year ago. Like for the last 4 years, they've been persecuting a lot of people. And he did get recognition. He was granted a full pardon by President Trump. And who acknowledged the unjust treatment. Again, we've talked a little bit about this. Joe Biggs, Enrique Ontario, and man, what is wrong with me? And he's actually a friend. Okay, there's 6 people total that got commutation of their deal, and of the 6, I think 4 were not even at the January 6th. We're not at the Capitol. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Don, Tommy, welcome to the show.
Joe,
What's
Yeah.
up, brother? How you doing? How you
Thanks for
doing?
having me.
This is my buddy Don. Yeah, no, me and Don, I think, spanned the entire spectrum of January 6th FBI visits. I was visited, I think, 72 hours later.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I got it right away. I mean, am I gonna say that I got like the gold medal of FBI visits? No, but I kind of did. Just and Don got it, 4 year or 3 years later. And yeah, early
Next
on.
Olympic season.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that Pompeo's nephew was at January 6th? And they never
Oh.
came and they never
Former
came
head
to
of the
visit.
the
They never
former
came to
head of
visit
the
him.
CIA. It's a small world, Joe.
Never came to visit him.
It's a small world. But I want to, well, I was going to say, yeah, and, Don's one of my best friends, and he helped me a lot early on in the podcast. And also, another fun fact is we were at a fundraiser for Joe Kent, who's now the head of the NCTC. And I got so drunk, I got a concussion, and Don had to take me to the hospital. So it's not all serious. And it started with M60s and alcohol, and it ended with me covered in blood and at the hospital. So that's just, that's another fun fact. But
Calm down.
that is a
calm
true story.
down.
yeah, no, yeah. No, I got to tell those stories. But I want to say before I completely spiral off, and then I'll let Don get in there. Is yeah, Joe, what you were saying about the crickets from everyone. It's a bit ironic because yesterday my YouTube they let me back on after 1,490 days, and I'm going back and looking at like the last episodes that were uploaded. And it was obviously for Dr. McCullough, Dr. Malone, talking about 2020 election. And I'm looking at the views on those, and it was like 100 views, 150 views. It was before these guys went on Rogan, and you can find little clips of me where I'm like, "Hey guys, something's messed up. They're banning this stuff, and no one wants to talk to them." And so it doesn't. I wouldn't say it makes it better, but there is a price you're going to pay for legitimately caring about a cause versus just being conning. Now all these people have on these doctors, and they'll text me. They'll be like, "Yeah, where were these spineless guys 3, 4 years ago?" So it's not the same as Tina Peters, but broad strokes, it kind of is, and you'll pay for it for genuinely caring about something. Don?
That's absolutely right. That is 100% my experience. Joe, you are absolutely correct that I had a podcast, and every single time that COVID came up during the 2020 era, during even 2019, I was watching video coming out of China and saying the Great Firewall of China blocks everything, but somehow or another, thousands and thousands of these videos are getting out. How is this happening? Because that is not reasonable. We can't get a video of what China looks like on a Tuesday afternoon, but I have 22 different angles of this door being welded closed. That's not an accident. This is very obviously going to result in something bad. And whatever comes next, just don't do whatever the government tells you, because it's going to be bad. And despite being off the air for about 3 years, marginally because of things like the FBI coming and harassing me and not being able to make money, because you start getting banned everywhere off the internet, and it costs money to run these things. And eventually it was, hey, I've got to stop. And it didn't matter. 3 years later, YouTube was sending me emails saying, hey, we struck this video because you were talking about COVID in 2019, a year before there was a policy relating to anything to do with COVID. And I had a lot of friends in the podcasting, the online news kind of space, and it didn't matter where I went or who I talked to, with very few exceptions. The answer was, well, but the narrative is correct. And I don't think everybody was being paid. I think it was pretty organic, right? The 20 or 30 people probably being paid, the mainstream news narrative. And after that, it just took off like wildfire. It didn't matter, right? There are excess deaths. And so we know COVID is the Spanish flu plus Ebola plus whatever else. And these things were just accepted. And it was really wild. It didn't matter how many times you could find a guy who was shot 27 times but died of COVID, or a guy in a motorcycle accident with a semi who died of COVID, and on these would go. And to the caring about much of anything, I got to tell you, amongst the conservative ink crowd, nothing has changed. I know probably a lot of the same people that you're talking about. I met them, a decade ago and had a lot of the same conversations. Hey, man, how about if we actually do something that gets something done? How about we do something productive, make an actual difference in people's lives? And you want to see people run away from you? Sell that. So for 5 minutes, sell that to people, and everyone and their brother turns and runs. I've got maybe 5 friends out of the couple hundred people I spoke to regularly at that time. And it's because they're the people who didn't tuck tail and run. They're the people who didn't run screaming the moment that, bands started coming down, or, the cops would call you, or any number of other silly things. And at the time, they were just calling you to harass you. At the time, they were just kind of being a pain. And nothing was really coming of it. So I didn't see any particular reason to stop doing what I was doing. So I just kept right on. But it's amazing to watch people walk away from you when you say things like, don't be afraid. Don't give in to whatever MSNBC, CNN, and Fox are telling you is the grand narrative, when it's something that touches people personally, right? When you're talking about job stats or any other kind of irrelevant thing to day-to-day life, oh yeah, by all means, push back against the mainstream narrative. But if you're talking about something that you individually can do on a Tuesday that will make everybody's life better, nope, can't be having that. You have to go. You need to be kicked off every platform that exists. You can't call anybody for help because everybody you call just won't answer the phone. It's insane how bad it gets.
It's that's the thing. It's kind of funny how I open this with like, you know, you got to stand your ground and it's worth it in the end. And then Don and I both immediately start illuminating how we were visited by the federal authorities and our channels were eviscerated. You just have
Yeah.
somebody like, but you said it all worked out in the end. It's like Don and I are in like crutches, like, in an FBI holding cell. Like it's all worth it. No, but it it is, and I think it will always be that sort. Tim Dillon said it best, and then we'll hand it over to Joe. So I'll stop monologuing. Tim
No,
Dillon said it
monologue.
best. He showed a clip, a couple days after Charlie Kirk died, and he goes, "Here's Charlie Kirk, saying, I think Israel let October 7th happen, and they are doing a cultural cleansing of Gaza." And he's saying it, and I believe he's saying it over a Zoom meeting to Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro's eyebrows are going up. And Tim goes, "That right there is the look of saying." We are allowed to say that DEI is racist, that the liberals are the real fascists, and there's only two bathrooms. What you're not allowed to say are things that strike to the core of the power elite, be it war, be it elections, be it COVID. And I think that's exactly it. There are things you're allowed to play with. You're allowed to, imagine if it was the roles were reversed. But the second you get to like, hey man, I'm pretty sure that there's like it's all coordinated. I think before we knew about the Twitter files, Don and I were saying on band shows like they're all getting the marching orders at the same time, and all this stuff. And people they're giving you the same look of like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I could say I regret it, but it's led me to where I am on Untamed, and I'm not beholden to sponsors who can kick me off. I have somebody like Joe who's been more canceled than I am, and I would say in the long run it is worth it. It's been a long, long run, but it is worth it. I don't have that feeling of when you look at Con Inc. and how they won't touch certain things, and you just get a feeling of like, how do you look in the mirror, man? Like,
Well, they
what?
do it pretty easily, actually. They look themselves in the mirror as they're counting the checks that they got for putting something stupid up.
Sure, and
I
if
mean,
they look
that's
really closely, they'll see Satan kissing their neck. But that's kind of how I view it. Is the very long run is that. So, not that Joe, not that you need advice from people younger than you, but I mean, that's what I would say is no, it is worth it, and you don't want to be associated with the people who do the window dressing stuff. The real fascists are the. What about why is she in jail? Why is Smartmatic still operating? They
well.
don't they don't want that.
So let's. By the way, I am seeing what you guys are saying about Rumble keeps freezing up. You know, it's just the normalized keeps freezing up, and we have the entire crew that's over here from I'll call them the Coomer crew, that doesn't like our show today. So, Don, I think it's you.
That could be.
There, yeah.
Don is a little bit of a lightning.
I attract a lot of people who like to say horrible things to you. I have some really long-running fans.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you keep speaking the truth and they don't like it very much.
Happens a lot, actually.
So,
Yeah.
So let's kind of work this problem a little bit. We've seen I'm going to go back to elections because I think that's where it all starts, right? And I'm going to move back in time about 20 years. And maybe it happened a little bit before that. Let's go back 21 years. Heck, let's go straight to what happened when there was a congressman that asked someone named Clinton Curtis to build a system. Now, the company that he worked for was a Chinese company. Frankly, it was coincidental. It's all coincidence, guys. Just so you know, it's all coincidence. Nothing to see here. You're not allowed to ask about these things. And by the way, if you do, slave, we're going to take everything from you. Okay. So if you stay in your lane, you're liable to do really well. If you don't, we're going to destroy you. That's the mantra of the United States. By the way, that's no different than if you were the Uyghur people of China, where they put them in slave camps. There's no difference between that and what we're dealing with right now. None. The United States has become one of the most broken, corrupt, absolutely captured societies that you're going to have globally, period. And stop. And we have President Trump because the slaves have actually rallied up. But downstream, let's go back 21 years again. Clinton Curtis testified in front of Congress, and he said, "Hey, look, by the way, I built the system. It's undetectable. You can steal elections." And we took it seriously. And then in 2006, Lou Dobbs talked about this. So Lou Dobbs in 2006 talked about the fact, and there was a video that was out there. I don't know. Have you guys seen this video? You guys have this video that we can play it? I put it out there this morning with Lou Dobbs. Do you have it? Guys, behind the scenes. You got it. Let's see if I can find it for you. My point is that we knew that the elections were stolen. We knew for 20 years, did nothing. And then they stacked up judges and stacked up lawyers and stole things and pushed money into NGOs. And we did nothing. And now we're sitting here with evidence, and these Con Inc. guys won't say a word. Help me with that.
Yeah, you're not handing down $60 million contracts annually. That's why.
Okay.
And I hate to sound so cynical about it. I hate to sound so dismissive about it, but any number of times I either have had friends or been there, been around for conversations that went something like, yeah, we could talk about that, but if we do that, we will lose. And it's always some ridiculous dollar amount. And I don't care which personality you're talking about. Almost all of them have done this. It's truly ridiculous. I hate to be the guy that says anybody who's successful is on the take, because that is not true. But there is a very high likelihood that if you have ever seen an internet personality on Fox News, they are making a ton of money, and it governs what they talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, so how do you get past it?
Well, you have to walk it out to the nth degree. Just like a war game of where it starts with a skirmish, and eventually all war games lead up to, and then we launch thermonuclear weapons at each other. That's where it does eventually, if you just run it all the way up. And I know it sounds insane, but what do you do about it is walk it out in your head and then just acknowledge that it could, at the very worst, kill you. And then where are you rooted in that? Are you rooted in God or not? And then trickle it back down, reverse it to, okay, well, before they kill me, what would happen? Okay, maybe I'll get banned. All right, how would I survive that? Is it completely choking out my voice? No. You can a bit shoot, a rumble. Okay, it won't be completely over. And then how valuable is this to what I believe in and to my own soul? Is it Is it some pop news, or is it no? It seems to be like a pretty bedrock thing. Like, hey, they're sabotaging the elections, and so what do you do about it? Is we can do what we're doing right now, where we talk about how bad Con Inc. is, and you can, and I get it, but at a certain point, you go, okay, yes, it is, and then just drop them. It's not worth the time. It's not, and I'm not saying it's not a sincere thing. What I'm saying is we can sit here until the end of time and talk about how they don't have a backbone. All right, we're all on the same page. But at a certain point, we all go, they all suck. They all have no backbone. They're just puppets. Okay, get it, got it, good. All right, let's close that binder. Next thing, what can we start doing? And even if it's like when Dawn and I first knew each other, it's like I got banned from. Did I even have like 1,000 subscribers? Like, and I went over to Rumble and had 100 subscribers, and it was like, well, now what? And it was like, I mean, it was a lot of anger, but it was also like, I have no respect for you. Like, so when I said earlier, how do you look yourself in the mirror? I really mean that. It eats my brain alive if I self censor. So, what do you do about it? You know what is right, and you have to speak. And it really, I know this sounds like some Hallmark bullshit, but it's, do you know what is right? Are you rooted in God? And do you truly mean those two things? Not theoretically. I know that gravity is real. It's not a theory. I'm on the top floor of this apartment building. There's no wishy-washiness about should I jump out of that window. Dawn saw me fall 6 feet. I don't need to fall, 160. You have to be rooted in that and then just move forward. And it's not fun. It's not easy. And you have to walk it all the way out. Most likely you'll be banned or lose sponsors. What's the worst case? Yeah, you and your loved ones will die. Where do you feel with that? And I know this sounds like insane, but no, really, you have to walk it out to the nth degree. And are you okay with that degree? And then rewind it and move forward. So fuck Con Inc. They're spineless. Move on. That's my 2 cents, Don.
Well, that leaves you with the what do you do now, right? And the primary reason to somewhat continuously talk about whether or not Connie can be trusted is because along the way, you're going to need friends to help. It's just the case, right? No one is, I don't plan to be Icarus anyway. And so we're probably not all immediately flying to the sun by ourselves. And what matters in the future, and I have seen people do this for years where I don't know that I should mention any names, but they will go and desperately, and I was this person too once, but they will desperately reach out to the most popular Con Inc. Broadcaster on the internet, right? And whatever they're saying, they're right. Hey, I'm in desperate times because I did this thing. I was the guy who broke this news story that you're using the footage of. And right now,
you know how many times I heard that?
Yeah, and it's these guys will reach out and desperately. And I know some of these people. I was there when they recorded some of this footage, right? Like plenty of people. And the simple reality is they'll take the footage, they'll broadcast the footage, they'll do the voiceover next to the footage, and then you don't matter anymore because you never did, right? Whether or not they could get 2.5 million clicks off something that you got beat half to death for is all that ever mattered, right? You getting beat half to death, you being in the hospital, right? I mean, the most famous person for getting beat up is probably Andy No. And it took, I knew Andy No. Well, I don't know Andy No, but I was following Andy No back when he had, I don't know, like 5,000 followers or something. He was just nobody. But he was going into these Antifa dens, right? And reporting on them. And I was, wow, someone's actually doing it. I'll take it. And it took years and years and years where he would try and put stuff out and people would just ape his content immediately, get the clicks and be done. And it, that is how so much of this is going to go. So strategically speaking, when it is time to reach out for help, don't reach out to Connie because they don't care, right? Reach out to guys who are 1/100th the size. And let me tell you right now, there's a reality that nobody wants to hear. If you, as some dozen over the years people have, get a hold of Con Inc., they will run a 1-minute segment at absolute most that says, "Oh, this guy who's really in for the cause, he has suffered this serious problem. What we need to do is we need to really rally behind this guy." That 1-minute segment will run one time. you will get a giant burst of support. Most of it will be people leaving comments that say, "Oh, you're super awesome and patriotic and save this country and we love you." That would be the end of it.
Affirmation, you mean? So the points of affirmation that make you you feel warm and fuzzy. And look,
for 36 hours, it will feel great. All right,
Don, I don't actually care about. I want to just go back to doing what I did before, which is being in business, doing great things. Tommy and I have talked about this at great length, right? I mean, it. So I'm good. I'm good. What I can't stand is that you tell the truth and they want to pick your life apart, and then the media picks your life apart, and they do everything they can to try and destroy you. And they put on a pedestal people that are just demonically just garbage, right? And then the platforms like Rumble and everything else, including Rumble, let's just call them what they are, right? I mean, we spent the last 5 years building up a following, and we're the only ones that grow on every platform except for the platforms that they tell us that you can't grow on. You're not allowed to grow on YouTube. We're going to go ahead and cancel you there, which they do every time they get a chance. They go over to Facebook, cancel you there, make sure that you have no following over there. And I mean, I finally just decided to put it on my normal page, and people were like, "Okay, now I can see it," right? But you talk about X. I don't know. I don't know if X is good or bad. I don't know if any of the platforms are good or bad. But here's what I do know: the truth will bubble up somewhere, and if you, like you said, give it to people, the 100 smallest ones, I actually don't really care.
Yeah,
as long as the truth gets told, and these liars don't win. That's all I care about.
That's why I describe the method like this, right? Because the simple, very distasteful reality is that a whole, that demonically possessed statement, right on the money. These people, they group together immediately. They all look out for each other. And if you say, "Hey, this is good, right, and true," they all get very uncomfortable. Specifically, if you ever say this to them in real life. So don't be out there seeking out the fame, I guess is the point. Just say the truth. Tell, if you need help getting the truth out, if you need help in literally any way, go find your 100 guys that are responsive, that probably all have 3,000 subscribers, that are going to spend the time to look through this, right? Because that's where you're going to get traction. And that's fine. Just know that it's the method. Know that it's the way to get it done. We need, as a country, to stop the hero worship game. Well, hell with it. We're saying names. I saw Ben Shapiro own the college students back in 2008, right? No, I didn't personally, but and so I know that Ben Shapiro is going to do the right thing. And I have heard this kind of sentiment from people plenty of times, right? Don't measure these people by the ownage clips. Don't measure these people by really anything other than whether or not they're forwarding things that will do beneficial things for the country. And you get very different results. You won't, as Joe very clearly knows, I heard it in some of that opening speech. You won't get invited to the cool parties anymore, but you will be able to look yourself in the mirror, and you will be able to get productive things done.
Yeah, what I what I would say is, and Joe, you've talked to some of these guys that you've had on Dale and Clay, and a million times we'd be blackpilling on my podcast in 2021 about how fucked it all is, but I would always bring up, and I would mean it, and I would say the reason I can't give up, and there isn't to be some ass kissing thing to him, but I would look at Joe Kent, and everyone knows his story: special forces, the intelligence agency. His wife Shannon was an NSA linguist, I believe, killed by a suicide bomber. He's a widower to two young boys. He's recently remarried, but in 2020, 2021, he was running for Congress, I believe, in Washington State, and I reached out to him right after I was banned from YouTube. So not even on YouTube, but on a And I looked it up the other day. So Rumble right now has 78 million monthly users. YouTube has 2.7 billion. So I think YouTube holds 99.19% of the market. So I was on Rumble, which is small, and I had, I think, under 100 subscribers. And I heard his story and I found his contact and I reached out to him. And he called me and was like, I'd love to come on your show. I am on my show probably 10, 15 times. Dawn and I actually went to a fundraiser with him. And I would always look at this dude and be like, he's not giving up. And he's someone that he could. He's a special forces dude. He could absolutely just go, take to the woods and go, dig the trench. And he kept pushing through, and through the grace of God, he's the head of the National Counterterrorism Center. And I know some people say, "Oh, Joe Kent's a Fed." If Joe Kent's a Fed, he wouldn't have come on my sub 100 subscriber podcast on Rumble. Not once, not twice, 10, 15 times. I'd put him in touch with doctors during COVID. I had him on with Mike Durant, had him on with Dr. Malone, I had him on with Dr. McCullough. And I look at that, and so what's the point of all this thing is you can tell who people are when you have nothing to give them. He never knew I was going to be able to get a fundraiser thrown for him. It was just a show, and I respected deeply what he does or what he did. And now where he is higher. I think in his words, he's like, I never thought I would reach this spot. And that's someone who, and every time you talk to him, it would always, and this is off air too. When I would talk to him for 10 minutes before we started recording and everything, and, I'd be like, yeah, dude, it's so fucked, Section 230. And he'd be like, yeah. And even then, even when the cameras weren't rolling, he would always say, send me, oh Lord. And that's not a trivial thing. And it's easy to like whitewash it retroactively and talk about it. That's not how it was in 2021. It's easy to look back and say how crazy the Trump comeback was. It was. The last 4 years were not fun, though. We weren't like, this is quite the story. We were like, well, they're probably going to raid me one of these days. It's just, how badly do I want to die? And I look at that, and then, sure, is that a cherry-picked example? Maybe. But that's a dude who I had nothing to offer to and came in on and on and on again. And it's also someone who, now that he's made it, he absolutely still responds to my gay texts. So like my point is God will guide you, and it's not through the big names. It's you're gonna the sediment, you're gonna shift it out in the pan. You're the crazy, the gold digger, and you're drunk on moonshine, and it's 1840. Eventually you will find some gold specks. And if you want an easy route, this is not the conversation for you, and I would stop watching this show immediately. And if you see my name, Joe's name, or Don's name, exit out. But if there is part of you that has an interest in finding the thing that is good and true in your heart, and you can feel it, and it's right, and you don't need to defend it to anyone, follow that. And I'd say, in a way that has worked. My show's growing. Don's alive. He's not in jail from the FBI. I don't know where I was going with all that. My point is it will work if you just keep pushing forward and trust the Lord, and not in a Facebook status way. I mean, legitimately go, all right, I know I literally might catch a bullet through the face and my parents will be very sad. Trust the Lord that deeply. So I'll stop rambling.
Don, where do you live?
North Texas, the Panhandle. Ish Amarillo.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm in San Antonio right now.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so how long have you been in Texas?
About 5 years.
And before that?
Out there next to Sacramento, California.
You're a California kid? You brought your California shit to Texas?
I did. I'm that guy.
Oh my gosh.
On the other hand, I'm one of there are two kinds of Californians, by the way. I guess there's three kinds of Californians that move all over the country. And one of them is the Libby that showed up for their tech job, right? And they are there to get the money, and they're keeping Austin weird, right? Those douchebags. The other kind are the kind who show up and go, well, I'm the good kind of Californian. We're the ones who just didn't like California, and that's why we left. And then There are the kind of Californians who are like me, who show up here and people go, well, I don't understand why we can't have this lib policy. And I say, because you're going to turn you into California and you don't want that. I promise you, you want nothing to do with that. We don't need an extra 2% tax. What the hell is wrong with you? And we all come off a little weird because we came from hell. We are the people who escaped communist Russia in the 80s, and we know it, except we're in the 21st century. We're the people who sound like, the Lily Tangs saying, you do not want communism here, when you're saying, well, but why is it a big deal if we make a law that says you have to do insert silly thing that somebody in Austin wants to do? And we will probably talk your ear off for about 8 straight hours about where we came from and how terrible it was and why we left. And we're not the good ones. We will happily burn down the state that we came from just for, God willing, the chance to set foot in it again without being arrested. So
Don's in the very, very niche pipeline of California to Middle East to Texas. It's a very low percentage. It's a small group. It's a
very slow percentage of people that can stay there. I mean, after making that transition without me needing a lot of help and laying on a lot of couches.
Yeah. No, I spent like 2 years renting and then bought property because I love this place. So.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. People in Texas are really nice. And hey, I want to talk about some stuff here. Because you were in J6, so I do want to give the public some opportunity to kind of get through and flesh out some of the stuff, especially as it relates to January 6th.
Sure.
So there was a tweet put out there, and John Solomon put it out there. I don't know why we keep finding John Solomon, but John Solomon put this out there from Just the News. FBI bombshell: 274 agents sent to Capitol for J6. Many later complained they were political pawns. And if you go into this article from Just the News, the FBI secretly deployed more than 250 plainclothes agents to the U.S. Capitol during the J6 2021 riot. An operation so disorganized it unleashed shearing frustration among many FBI's rank and file that the Bureau had lost its core competencies to wokeness and allowed its employees to become pawns for the political war, according to their after-action report kept from the public for more than 4 years. 4 years we weren't allowed to see this. Scores of FBI agents and personnel, many from the Bureau's premier Washington field office, sent anonymous complaints to the after-action team detailing how agents were sent into an unsafe scenario without proper equipment or the ability to identify themselves readily as armed officers to other police agencies, a report obtained by Just the News shows. The most persistent complaint was that the Bureau, during the James Comey and Christopher Wray era, had become infected with political biases and liberal ideology that treated the protesters from the summer 2020 Black Lives Matter riots far differently than the rest at the aftermath of the J6 episode. So what do you make of this? I mean, you were there on January 6th. I was there in a different capacity. I was at the State Department briefing Pompeo's counsel while that piece of shit was sneaking out the back door. Tell us number one, what you saw at J6 while you were there, and then how you feel about the narrative that they created. Does it match?
So, for the most part, on January 6th, there were just thousands and thousands of people praying, singing, and doing precisely what the First Amendment prescribes. Standing in front of a police line. Now, the First Amendment doesn't say very much about getting tear gas for a good couple of hours, but I'm going to stand where it is that my government has set this line. I will make my voice heard. Now, I didn't enter the Capitol building. I was on the other side. I spent the entire day there. But the cops were pretty harassing all day long from the jump. In the world
So they treated you like a slave. You felt like you were a slave.
Oh man, absolutely.
Sorry, and let me interrupt. And Joe, I can send you the 90 minutes of 4K video I took while I was there, and everything Don's saying, I can back up. Don't take his word for it. The prayers, the people singing the national anthem, and then a bunch of weirdly out of place dudes buff dudes with tattoos who are like, "We gotta tell the government what's what." Everyone's looking, like, who the fuck are you? Like, sorry, keep going, Don.
So a specific instance, right? By the time that January 6th happened, I had been covering riots in DC for 6 months.
Right.
I was there for a lot of the Black Lives Matter burning down the city, for and Antifa hurting people, all these kinds of things. And so I was pretty sure, because they had been escalating in intensity, that things were going to go particularly wild. And so I grabbed a Marine friend of mine and I said, hey, look, mostly what I need you to do is make sure that nobody hits me in the back of the head and kills me. And he said, yeah, I can do that. And so I took him down there, and we make our way to the front of the protest where the police barricades are, and we're standing there. And the cops start throwing tear gas grenades, and people start hitting the tear gas grenades back with flags. So the cops start confiscating the flags and throwing them on the ground. This goes over about as well as you would think it would, with two Marines standing there. We start yelling at the cop in front of us, hey, pick up the effing flag, like right now. And he's like, well, but I really can't. I said, fine, get out of my way. I'll pick it up. I will pick them up and carry them if you won't. And all of a sudden, they've got 30 cops there, bear macing you, tear gassing you, because you're upset that they're throwing the American flag on the ground. And if there's anything that will tell you how the government behaved that day, it's pretty much that story. This was every single minute of the whole day. I got there early enough in the day that I'm pretty sure I watched somebody die in the Capitol Rotunda in the first 15 minutes of being there. Because right as everybody got up there, somebody launched a tear gas canister into that crowd. And I'm pretty sure they caved a guy's skull in. And nobody talks about that guy. That guy is just gone, lost to history. He's not in news reports. A lot of blood, and he was unconscious immediately. Protesters picked him up and ran him, stopped the bleeding, and then ran him to the edge of the crowd looking for medical services. And I never saw or heard from him again. There's a guy on X called Help Stop Hate that catalogs these, and I think he's the only person I've ever heard talk about this guy other than me.
I hadn't heard of it till now.
And that was, nothing had happened at this point, right? Protesters were running up to a line of fences and 40 millimeter gas grenades straight to the face. That was the government's opening salvo of how January 6th was going to go.
And I have the video of literally people singing the national anthem, and then everyone starting to say, and I know you guys bleep this stuff, what the fuck? Because I'm pretty sure I have the video of the first windows breaking. I was about 15 feet from it. And then I remember the guys on the window washing scaffolding. And not only are people going, how are they? It's not that how do you get on a scaffolding? Will you step on it? No, why was it raising?
Yeah.
Who was raising that? And why were it dudes who are all tatted up and look an awful lot like guys like Dale would know, except they're not Dale. And they're there breaking windows and screaming like, let's go. And you can see people looking around on the videos going, what is this shit? That's exactly what it was.
And that was pretty much all day too. There, if you were standing right up at the barricades, as I was, you got a pretty regular occurrence, which is to say you'd stand there and things were going quiet enough for the first hour that I was standing at the barricades. I was just talking to the cop in front of me. Hey, how's it going? You guys have protests all the time. How are we doing? And he stood up, looked around. Well, I mean, you guys come hard. And that it was that kind of conversational tone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one guy runs up and rips the barricade down. One guy. The whole crowd doing nothing to support this guy, often trying to hold the barricade. More than one cop got pulled over into the crowd by one dude and pushed back over the barricade by the rest of the crowd. Right? This happened at least 3 times. Right? And so when I sit and I listen, because there was a how do you feel about what's going on here? Listen to, this is an insurrection. Oh, they were trying to take over the Capitol. Well, look, we were doing the worst job in human history of trying to take over a building. We were, it doesn't matter how many times you see the guys walking through the ropes, even where all the crowd control stuff was going on. Those little BB grenades they throw up in the air. I got a friend that had one go about through his cheek. And still, they couldn't get that crowd to go over there and actually injure cops. Just wasn't going to happen. I know someone is going to say, oh, but somebody got hit with a flagpole. And that's true. more than one person got hit with a flagpole. But, and I can't say this enough, if you're going to just sit there and throw CS gas, when they're trying to hit the CS gas back at you, things are going to happen. Okay. If you want to go pick a fight and somebody says, well, I'm not going to let you just beat on me, then at some point you take the risk of getting injured. Okay. And when I say pick a fight, I mean they picked a fight. You know, plenty of those cops went out of their way to cause problems.
Yeah, well, cops killed my brother. So, I mean, I got to tell you, I back the cops in I always say this. I back the cops in my neighborhood because they're good. My neighborhood. But
it's amazing how much that helps.
This is the part where if the people just got together and could get away from all the media, we could solve a lot of our problems. If we could actually elect people from our community to represent us, and it was truly an election of the people, for the people, by the people, we wouldn't have 90% of the problems that we have today. We wouldn't have technocracies that were able to do whatever they want, pass laws, and buy our Congress. None of that stuff would happen. None of it. But here we are with laws that have been passed over the last 25 years that allow for them to get away with murder, to appoint radical ideologues to places like the judiciary and or positions where ATF and other organizations these are unelected bureaucrats that are pushing down on us. And then we got to look at education standards and what they do with these people that they put into these education environments. And then they groom people to go through the education system to put them into schools to groom even more people to do the same thing and tell them, hey, you're a good soldier. You have to go be a good soldier, and you got to recruit other soldiers. It's a real thing that we deal with in our country.
Oh yeah. If anybody thinks he's churching that up, one of the stories of the post-Charlie Kirk assassination is that Antifa is running through the colleges right now saying, see, we can kill them. Right. We landed hit on target. Come work with us.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing they don't understand. There's a thing that exists in the internet that allows for what are called whispers. And whispers allow for them to collect data. The internet's free. You're free to do whatever you want. But the reason why they're able to catch people doing really radically bad stuff, like downloading child porn and everything else, is because the internet has a whisper system. It has a system by which they can collect data using those torrent systems and then use that data to go find victims and perpetrators, right? It exists. And so finding Antifa is not difficult if they want to get the job done. It is possible.
It is impressively easy. And I say that because a handful of private investigators have built Antifa maps based on cell phones and these sorts of things. There was a guy that went to during the Summer of Love. He went out there with just a router plugged into his car that he configured to run like a cell phone tower, and he just sat in his car and with this thing plugged into his laptop, keeping track of all the traffic, right? And he made a map of Antifa that is a few thousand people that looks very much like terrorist cells. If you were at all familiar, even the national TV show kind of terrorist cell, where it's a bunch of bubbles all over the place and they've all got lines in between them, and there's only one line. It's a command structure with limited capability for one cell to talk to another. And he tried to hand this over to the feds going on 6 years ago now, maybe 7 years ago now. And they didn't want any part of it. And there are probably two reasons for that. One, I don't care how good you are at doing what that guy did. You don't hold a candle to the giant flame that is the NSA. And two, you support it, right? At least tacitly, you support what these people are doing, because otherwise you'd want the information. And I have a hard time coming to any other conclusion, right? There's quite a few people who've done these sorts of things over the years, individually infiltrated Antifa cells. And what they find out is that, there's other cells that they talk to, and each one of them is ish 20 people. And once you get down to like the foot soldier level, they're 50 to 100 people who are much more loose knit. They're not actually part of it, part of the revolution or any of these things. We know these things to be true. These are things that open source intelligence has been doing for 10 years now, provable in hundreds of ways. But for some reason, we don't go after these people. and we never ever have. God willing, Antifa being designated as a terrorist organization means that any effort will be put into arresting these people.
Well, here's what happens if they are declared a terrorist organization, which they have been, right?
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, the rules change for me engaging them. I don't have to engage with a terrorist. No, this is a real deal. If you are a part of Antifa, I don't have to. I could beat your ass. If you tell me you're Antifa, I get to literally. It is almost like open field day for me.
Luckily you have Don right here, who he dealt with terrorists through a 777 howitzer.
Yeah, that was my method.
No,
Sadly,
but my point is that I don't want to get to violence at all. But there's some things that I am. I mean, look, this whole arrest, James Comey, maybe that was the beginning of it. But I'm hearing the same people. So here's my problem with our side. Our side, it's easy to be a bad person and act like you're a good person, infiltrate good people, right? It's very easy. Bad people look like good bad people, and the devil comes down here and tries to basically create chaos inside of the conservative movement, right? And that happens all the time.
Yes.
Very well controlled, right? And I look at stuff like the people that hung out with Jeffrey Epstein that are on conservative side, like Steve Bannon goes and spends 15 hours with him trying to rehabilitate the character of Jeffrey Epstein after he raped a child and was first convicted of being a pedophile. Then he goes and hangs out at these different places. Look, I'm not a fan of people like that. I'm just not. Like, I'll never be a fan. There'll never be a time that I would say it's okay that you have this pedophile and that we can give him grace. I'm out. I can't. I don't know how to. Sorry.
It's becoming a defining line.
But they're the ones that are the mouthpieces. They're the ones that are propped up by Fox News and everything else. And look, I don't want to be propped up. I'll just tell you right now, I got my tribe. Really simple. I want to solve the problem. I want our elections to be fixed. Right? That's it. I'm singularly focused. I give the voice back to the people. Stop lying to them all the time. Really simple. We can't even do that.
These are not separate. These are not separate issues. And Joe, you and I have talked about this before. It is down to the, like, for me, I'll like the things I always tell people, like, non-negotiable: 8 hours of sleep. You got to go to the gym. You got to pray. You got to be good with God. And for me, the last year and a half, been sober. Okay, how does that apply to podcasting? It is everything that is podcasting. Is everything that is everything. It's how I got into medical school. Find your core defining line, as Don said. The rest flows from it. All this shit, be it Con Inc. is not doing this or these people are not doing that. The core thing to fix is the elections. Will that make the world utopia? No. That is the core thing you can fix, even if you can only fix it for a couple decades, because everything that entropic decay. That is the thing you can fix that will have the most lasting effect. Nothing else trumped. You can build the big beautiful wall and all that stuff. If you want to have a real genuine effect, it's to fix the elections. That's not unrelated to why do we have these guys that are co-signing pedophiles? Because these are all parallel power networks and ways to fill the vacuum. It's not that you're singularly focused on some, like, it's not like, oh, you have some autistic focus. No, it's that you should be focused on that one thing. In the same way I would tell anyone, whether you're trying to be an auto mechanic or start a podcast or go to med school, you should be singularly focused on the equivalent of the elections in your life, which are go to sleep early, wake up early, exercise, pray. That's what I mean. So everything we're talking about, from why is the FBI allowed to do this with no oversight? What about the whole Chevron decision? All of these things do come back to, they're being backflowed to elections. Don, your thoughts?
There's a thing in there that I think is otherwise incredibly important that I have noticed is an ongoing problem in this country. Stop demonizing excellence. People who are willing to dedicate themselves, time, energy, money, whatever it is, are not something negative. All right. It turns out before you can be Michael Jordan or Elon Musk, you're the weird kid who won't stop doing whatever you're doing. All right. Let people be good at things. Stop trying to kill every single person, their hopes and dreams, because as often as not, you didn't do anything with your life. If that's the problem you have, get up and do something with your life. Okay. And support other people who are doing things with their lives. Be that fixing elections, be that Tommy's podcast, be that this podcast, be whatever it is. Okay. Get up, be productive, be a benefit to the people around you in any way, shape, or form. Right. Because even if, Joe is sitting here going, we need to fix elections, the first thing you think is, well, how do I fix elections? If tomorrow
we had it, bro. Don, we had it, brother. We have all the proof. We had proof back in 2020.
Oh, I'm not worried about the proof. How do we fix?
My point is that we know how to fix it, but the mechanisms by which you fix it are covered up by lawfare and nonprofits and private equity firms and people that own this, and then this mirage, this massive number of shell corporations everywhere. That you have Dominion voting systems in Canada, Dominion voting systems in Colorado. You have Dominion, I don't even know, Dominion company over here that owns something different. They got all these things that they spread out everywhere so they can hide stuff. They hide it. And then they create an agreement and say, oh, the code it's proprietary, your fucking calculator. And it's proprietary. Are you serious? Your job is to count votes. Everywhere you turn, it's criminal enterprise. And then they go to court and Fox News hands them $787 million. And you're going, what the hell's going on? And the lawyers are in on it. Like the lawyers are literally stacking bodies in front of the truth. Huh?
Of course. Look, I'm not a giant fan of lawyers. I've met a couple in my life that were great people trying to do good things. And I've met hundreds of lawyers. So I don't think any of that can be a surprise. But the point being, at some point, it is going to take people who are willing and dedicated to do things that are going to help fix this, right? And so be willing and dedicated. Be willing to be willing and dedicated. Be willing to step up to the plate, because if you don't, then you're just accepting what's going on. Whether you mean to be or not, you're just accepting what's going on. To that, hey, there are lots and lots of things. There is a guy somewhere who has a map of the Dominion network from the 2020 election. And I have not heard from this guy in like 3 years, but he's out there somewhere. Or he's been Hillary Clinton, one of the two. And
you realize everybody showed up to the January 6th because the election was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
They knew it was stolen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everything. Right? Yeah.
I mean, it's not. This is not. And look, I have a case right now with this Eric Coomer guy. That's the chief architect for Sequoia, that hit all that and said, "Oh yeah, somebody called me up and I went to work for him because I thought it was a noble thing to do." A freaking Satanist said that from 2005. He was there at every body count. Every time something went wrong, guess who was there? This prick. And now we have a deposition of a guy, and there's more depositions for more guys. So I want to go back to this really quick, if I can, Don, because you suffered at the hands of J6 because the election was stolen. So can we stop pretending that there is a bigger problem than the stealing of the voice of the American people over 20 years that has led to all the symptoms of a rotted judiciary, because they get appointed by rotted governors. They get appointed by a system that selects them. And then we have our people that go to Congress and steal your rights. And then you have the Second Amendment's been eroded to zero because they have stolen elections. And frankly, the biggest county they got in California, LA County, guess what it is? Smartmatic, which we just had a guy that worked for the government that said, I stole elections for Venezuela for nearly a decade and a half. And so we have all this information, but I want to show you something. This is Lou Dobbs in 2006. 2006 is like, this is a joke. This 2006, like we knew. Play it.
Tonight, new evidence that the federal government has ignored a threat to the integrity of our elections. A group of Venezuelan businessmen have bought an American company that supplies electronic voting machines and counts the votes. But your government didn't even review the sale. A voting machine company, critical to this country's election count, and they can't tell you whether or not the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States reviewed it or not?
They have no answer for us. And
These are the most arrogant, incompetent, bureaucratic idiots.
Smartmatic, based in Boca Raton, provides voting machines in local elections in the United States, like this election in Chicago in March. But Smartmatic has only 5 to 7 people working in Boca Raton, Florida. Smartmatic is a labyrinth of international holding companies owned by Venezuelan businessmen. The Smartmatic and other voting machine companies are private companies. They have proprietary software they can call a trade secret. Electronic voting experts with extensive experience say it's nearly impossible to verify if a proprietary system is tamper-proof.
All of the voting system vendors in the United States are private companies. The problem is the closed-door proprietary nature of the process. The closed system we have right now makes it extremely hard to find out what's going on. And that means that should a thief get in a position of power, we would never know.
Some voter watchdog groups and others in Congress are calling for a full review and say the ownership of all electronic voting companies should be reviewed to determine if it poses a risk to U.S. elections. The U.S. Treasury Department today would not confirm or deny if a so-called CFIUS review is underway on Smartmatic. Watchdog groups question why U.S. voting machines would be under the control of citizens of another country, especially a country whose own election process is highly suspect.
We believe this is a national security issue. There is no way that companies belonging to non-U.S. corporations should have access to our election.
In the case of Smartmatic, there are a number of unanswered questions. That's why I wrote to the Secretary of the Treasury and asked them to review the ownership. It's offshore, it's murky, no one seems to know who owns it. Certainly our government should know.
CFIUS, by the way, did review it and forced them to resell the company because guess what? It was screwed up, and they literally were stealing it. Guess who was the head chief architect? Guess. His name was Eric Coomer, chief architect. Chief architect. They have been riddled since the beginning. They have been riddled by crime and criminal activity and criminal implications all the way through it. Bribery charges and elections overseas. And every time we turn around, nobody will even look at the machines or mail-in ballots. They say it's the most safest, most secure election in U.S. history. It's baloney. See, everybody's happy. I didn't cuss. I did not cuss.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
You were headed there for a minute. I heard it.
Felt it. I could feel it up. I was like, yes, embrace.
So because I come from California, I have been watching every election of my lifetime since I was cognizant of elections be stolen. And I don't think that's a joke. When I was a kid and I couldn't, maybe 10, right? There was a guy who was running around California, standing in front of empty lots with mailboxes on the front that said, this address voted 7,000 times in this current election. And that was 30 years ago, right?
I mean, this is absurd. We don't solve the problem because the people are slaves. Your taxes went up to pay the government for what?
Oh, to steal more elections,
we don't get mad about it. We sit here and we tolerate it. Like, what are we going to do about it? Nothing we can do. And then the judges go and take from people what's not theirs to take. Well, you take the dignity and the soul of a nation and you flush it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I just can't. It's Friday. Like, Comey was just arrested. We should be happy. Bullshit. How are you going to be happy?
To the exact place that you were going earlier, I think. If this is the beginning, then maybe I'm happy.
Sure.
But I've been around for too many false starts. So, okay, fine. Today, Comey's in cuffs. If tomorrow...
He's not in cuffs yet.
Yeah. Comey has received a strongly worded letter that suggests he'll be in cuffs one day.
Yeah.
So, and okay, fine. On the other hand, I remember what the answer was for a guy who stood in front of a police line and got tear gassed for 6 hours. And it was not a strongly worded letter. One of the things that doesn't get talked about very often in relation to January 6th is that after the first series of arrests, a whole bunch of people that I knew in specific called up the FBI and said, "Look, if you're going to arrest us, just let us know. We don't actually need to have a gunfight with you at 6 o'clock in the morning." And so much so that I personally did that because I live in the middle of nowhere. And at that particular time in my life, there was a pack of wild dogs, and I raised prey animals. So there's a pack of wild dogs that are running around killing people's prey animals in the area. So as often as not, I'm running out my front door at 3 o'clock in the morning with a rifle in my hand and shooting something. And so I called up the FBI and I said, "Hey, look, if you're going to arrest me, please, for the love of God, do not show up at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, because if you wake up my dogs are going to start barking and I'm going to come running out the front door with a rifle in my hand. It's not because I'm going to know you're the FBI. It's because I'm going to be looking for wild dogs. And that's not a gunfight I can win, and I don't want to have it. So just tell me and I'll come down, turn myself in." And the two guys who had showed up to my house to take the statement went, "Yeah, man, that's, if that ever comes up, we'll put that in the file, this, that, or the other." And by solely God's grace, about 6 weeks before the FBI raided my house, my neighbor killed the last dog of the wild dog pack that was running around this area. And so I'd been just sleeping through the night. The dogs weren't waking up and all kinds of crazy stuff wasn't happening anymore. If they had been here 2 months earlier, chances are good I'd have walked out the door with a gun and they would have shot me. No two ways about it. No questions asked. It would have just been, "Oh, he's here. He's got a gun," right? Even if they hadn't have said anything or done anything. And so if that's the kind of treatment you can get for standing in front of a police barricade and getting tear gas for 6 hours, if you're trying to destroy the country, send HRT. Go right now. Go get those FBI SWAT teams and go get these people. Stop this. But they're the fancy people kind of nonsense. And I know that's what it is. And plenty of people think that. And I don't care. If you care about the country, if you want the country to succeed, if you want the country at this point to exist in, say, 10 years, some of these people are going to have to be in prison cells forever. And we need to stop playing games with that. We need to stop saying, "Oh, but we think that any number of these people will do the right thing." They've never done the right thing in their lives, and they're not about to start tomorrow.
I'm generally disappointed in pretty much everything. I want to. I mean, I know I keep coming back to elections, and you talk about the fact that you could have lost your life, and many Americans did lose their lives. When we talk about Alpha Warrior, they basically had red dots all over his body when he opened that door. He had been holding a gun. He'd been dead. They flashbanged his daughter's room.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the FBI we're talking about. The FBI that basically was told that we needed to declare parents as domestic terrorists. Parents that were standing up to gender ideologies and the destruction of their community. Right? They were the terrorists. I mean, it is literally two sides to every coin. And as I sit here and look at the what's happening in the media, and I walk through even X as I'm sitting here looking at it, there are algorithms that are preferring radical leftist content that I got to watch go through my feed. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this? How is this something that I should even have in front of me? Why? Because they are literally trying to convince people that left is right and right is left and good is bad and bad is good. They're actively doing it on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. They're all still doing it. They're just doing it subtly now underneath the radar while they sit here and tell us and parrot to us that they're doing the right thing. It's not the right thing. And arresting Comey, frankly, is just bullshit. It's not even real. Like that's not what serious people do. He's not the first target. The first target is the Dominion people, and you take it seriously what the deposition is. I started this, Don, you saw how I started it. I said Con Inc. did a great job telling us all about the deposition of someone that told us about the Dominion systems and why there were all these errors, right? Crickets, birds, and whales.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we got.
And that's, I forget who it was, but somebody amongst that group, somebody who worked, I think, at the Daily Wire, quit in 2021. And went on a tiny publicity tour. I forget the guy's name, and I wish I could remember it. And he said, "Look, the Daily Wire is very aware of all of the evidence that the election was stolen. They just refused to say it." And so I quit working there. And kudos to that guy. And that's why I wish I could remember his name, because he is literally the only one. Just him, nobody else. So, again,
why? But why? That's the whole thing. I mean, look, they know the Heritage Foundation knew.
Why what?
Like, why is it we're still sitting here talking about it, and that the media has been basically able to deball an entire environment and let these liars stand up? Why am I going to court defending myself in front of some rotted judge has been on the bench for 7 months that has he, him, her all over his door? He's got pronouns on his door of a judge, been on the bench for 7 months. And how did it go from a 20-year judge to a judge that had been on the bench for 1 month, taking my case, to another judge that, frankly, 7 months? 7 months the guy's been on the bench. I just can't. I can't even fathom the idea that we have such a rotted government. It's so rotted to the core that there's nothing left of it. You can't even recognize it.
If you want to find government that works vaguely the way that you think it does, get 500 miles out of a city and talk to a county commissioner. And there's about a 25% chance that government will work the way that you think it should if you're doing that. Outside of that, it's all games. It's all influence peddling and money and kickbacks. And most of these people, there seems to be two kinds of people in this position: the truly cynical who are just out for making the money, and the kind that are full of self-justification. Well, I can't change it anyway. Well, how much damage could I possibly do? If I can't change it for the better, I can't change it for the worse, right? And you'll hear these kinds of things out of people if you listen long enough. They won't say that exactly, but that's always what it'll mean. These are the kinds of things that are, in some ways, the guiding principle of what a whole lot, probably 80% of the federal government is doing, right? Is don't make waves, don't upset people, just make sure I get paid. And whatever it is that anybody might think about government service, which is what people like to call it, outside of maybe your local mailman who's a World War II vet or something that is just still delivering mail for the sake of delivering mail, almost nobody's in government service. A lot of people are in getting government, in government, get my pockets filled, but less government service for sure.
Yeah, it's we're going to go through a bunch of stuff about Comey because I want to know your thought. Tommy, you haven't said anything yet. You've seen me rant on this for 5 years, right? Tommy's like, yeah, I've heard him.
No, it's and I always have the answer that I don't think anyone wants, but it's you take what's in front of you and you work with what you have. I know that sounds like some dog shit Hallmark card, but I mean, early on in the podcast, Don's nickname for me was Agent Longreach, because I would have people on that I had no business in talking to. But I realized, because that's all I could do. I couldn't rely on anyone to do anything. It's like, well, what do I have? I have a microphone. I have the gift of gab. I have a biology degree. Okay, I can call this doctor. I can call that doctor. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll be honest. For the majority of the podcast, I always just figured it would end with a no-knock raid at like 2 a.m. I genuinely, on my brother's grave, I just kind of always assumed that's how I would die. And it just kept going forward, and I'm still here and I'm still alive. So why? It's rotted through, but and I mean this sincerely. Why are you dealing with this? Because this is what God's sending you to do, and I mean that more than I can, say my name's Thomas Carrigan. I genuinely believe that. This is what you are here for. If you believe God has abandoned you, you can have that thought, and then it will make sense. Or it can say, because you said it, and God, when you call a friend, you go, hey, man, if you need anything, let me know. And they go, actually, I do need something. You go, oh, fuck. No. If you say, send me, O Lord, he's going to send you. And that might mean something like you're saying. I know what you're saying. But that's what it is, and that's what we're working through. I don't know where it goes. I don't know how it's fixed. I do know that you can abandon it or you can keep going forward. That's what I know, Don.
There's a thing that I am often accused of because, at least in my opinion, I will accurately describe the state of the country, the government, the people who tell you that you can count on them. And that is, oh, Don, you're just blackpilling, you're being depressing, you're all bad news all the time. If you don't understand the scope of the problem, you have no hope of fixing it. Right.
Mhm.
And I understand that what most people want is to win an election and then it all be over. To cast a vote. Maybe they're willing to go out for midterm elections, right? There is an entrenched group of people who hate you, who hate everything this country has ever stood for, who hate everything this country will ever stand for unless they win and destroy it. And those people are not giving up because you won an election. Okay. Yes, it's a good thing to do, but they didn't just wave the white flag and go home because Trump walked into the White House. Okay.
Mhm.
There is a fight. It's going to be a long fight. How do you eat a shit sandwich one bite at a time? Okay. That's how. And if your hope, and I've seen this happen to a lot of people, if your hope is, okay, we'll do this one thing and then everything's going to be better, the first thing that happens when it's not better is everyone gets demoralized and goes home. And that can't be what happens. Every time everyone gets demoralized and goes home, we get Barack Obama and it gets worse. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
All
and
right.
I would. Sorry, I was going to say,
Go-
and I'd
go
also
ahead.
say, you mean Don? Is this an exaggeration to say, as you and I have become friends, that you get accused of blackpilling, and do I not get accused of being a starry-eyed faggot about being optimistic?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, but we still keep going forward. Okay,
Yeah.
and so that's what it is, and I mean, maybe I should have been in the Marines with Don, but I mean, like, really, just like make peace with the fact that you're in the shit, and you will be forever. And it is what it is. And you have to decide whether or not that is worth fighting for. And if you decide it's not, I can't even tell you that you're wrong. You have free will. You're allowed to do that. It's stressful. It sucks. Keep going forward. And I'll say this as more like as an abstract thing. It was spiraling in 2020, 2021. We're getting banned from this, that, and the other thing. You're kicking these people off social media. They're all consolidating. It's constricting. It's getting worse and worse. And now we're here. And we're not dead. And it is operable. Elon buys Twitter. YouTube's letting people back on. Is that the end all be all? No. But man, I would have been lying through my teeth any point in the last 4 years if I had said this is ever going to happen again, if Trump's going to get back in the election. Everyone knows if you steal one election, you have to steal the next one to cover it up. And then it's the end of everything. Why are we here? Why is it still not spiraling straight downwards? It's because it's not. God's given you breathing room. It's worth fighting for. It's just, and I'll always be optimistic by virtue of the fact that we are all here. That Don wasn't killed in a no-knock raid. That somehow or another Trump, for all of his faults, is in office. That you're back on YouTube. They're allowing shit on Facebook and Twitter. It's not hopeless. It's frustrating. It'll drive you back to I would love a bottle of vodka right now. But it's not over. And it's just I will always say that by virtue of the fact that I'm still alive, I'm still allowed to speak into a microphone, and my door's not being kicked down.
Yeah.
That is, you want evidence? There's the evidence. So I'll stop white pilling if we want to get back to the dooming.
No, I'm not trying to doom at all.
Good,
Man.
I
I
know.
think
I'm
it's
fucking with you.
solvable. I think it's solvable for sure. Right? I want to put something up real quick. I
Really gotta stop swearing on Joe's show. It's not my show. I apologize.
No, listen. I want you to be authentic. I want to use less curse words because I want to be able to make sure it gets on Apple and they don't.
Sorry. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Pop me for it. All right. So I'm going to put this verse up for a second. Show you this. Where's this from? Foreigners will reside among you, will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, but they will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Do you know, Don?
I don't.
All right. So I've been studying the Talmud.
There you go.
I've been studying the Talmud because I want to understand how certain people of a certain faith treat people. Not all people, by the way, not all Jews. I just want to be really clear. Not all Jews, just a certain group of people that believe that they are superior to other people and that they can treat them any way they want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that that exists?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what I just showed you is Deuteronomy 28, 43, and 44. It's in the Old Testament. It is a bedrock of capturing communities and countries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that not what's happening in our country?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's being done by accident?
No.
It's absolutely on purpose, right?
Correct.
Okay. Who do you think's doing it?
Israel.
Don?
And I say this as Don and I used to bond over how much we'd be like, do the schizos come into your comments and talk about Israel? He'd be like, yes. I will say that as to say, no, I think it's pretty apparent that who you're not allowed to criticize right now, who's having their passports revoked, who are these people coming out on D-Day talking about the raid on Entebbe instead of Omaha Beach? It is what it is. Just is what it is, Don.
So to that point, I'm always aware of the people who let this principle rule their lives, which is exactly who Tommy was just talking about.
But then that's the other thing is it's not only the Jews. No, but you call
look,
what you see what it is.
Look, you can, you can not all, you can not only, you can, and all these things are true. On the other hand, if you feel intensely like you need to qualify it, the government of Israel is absolutely doing horrifically
if you can't talk about
things
it,
to
if
the
you
United
can't
States.
talk about it, you got a problem, right?
And that's the thing, right? Is, stop feeling guilty because somebody told you that somebody else was oppressed. I don't give a shit if they were oppressed 2 million years ago, 2,000 years ago. That doesn't
or
give
20
you
years
license
ago.
to be.
I don't care.
I don't care if you were.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Look,
not even 20 minutes ago. It doesn't give you license to destroy things right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never gotten special treatment for being Irish.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Not the good kind, but yes.
Bro, they have entire drinks. I mean, Bailey's Irish cream. Stop it. You get all sorts of special treatment.
That's my reward.
Yeah. You get some of the best.
I prefer $40 billion a year in unaccounted military aid instead of a fucking creamer.
Bro, you're amongst the most violent of civilization. That's why they have what's called the Irish car bomb, the black and tans.
I'm aware.
By the way, don't go over to Ireland and say any of the things I just said to you because they will smack you around like
they will kill me.
you order an Irish car bomb there, and by the way,
you will get one.
Yeah, you won't get one. You get your ass beat. They're real salty over there.
Yeah.
Still.
There's no special treatment, and that's the point is if you can't talk about it, and that's something I will give all the credit in the world to Charlie Kirk, that clip where he goes, would it be fair to say, and he goes that we've all been everyone always kind of the media is lying, but it's hard to hold on, but that the Kirk quote where he goes, is it clear that we were lied to about COVID, about the 2020 election, about George Floyd, about Ukraine? He goes, is it not rational to think that maybe we're not being told the truth about Israel? That's all he said. And that right there, if you cannot even embrace that, then you're not being honest with yourself. Because everything has had a hint of bullshit in it. Why would this be different?
Okay, so I just need you to know, somebody said that, Joe, that's the Torah, not the Talmud. No kidding. I read from the Torah, but it's a basis if you've ever read the Talmud. And by the way, it's a very long. It's long. Takes forever.
Isn't it like 500,000 pages?
No, I think it's 2,000 pages.
All right. Well, I can't read.
But it's long, right? It's very, very wrong. Long. It's wrong. It's wrong and it's long. They're both.
Yeah.
But so
Why
I
not
know,
both?
but Deuteronomy is there's certain things inside the Talmud that if you read, they are closely related to some of the scriptures of the Old Testament, right? Very, very well rooted, probably a better word for it, right? And so I just went through and I was going through and reading some things, and I was like, man, it hit me. Like I was going through Deuteronomy because I like Deuteronomy, and I always like I like Numbers, I like Exodus. I mean, there's just certain scriptures that I like, right? That in the Old Testament, because it's actually, it should have a thing on it that says, parental guidance is suggested, because there's some pretty awesome stuff that happens in the Bible. And so when I was reading this deal, I was like, wow, this is what's happening in the United States. This is what's happened. Think about the UK. What had just happened in the UK?
Impetus for another crusade.
I was gonna say, what do you mean, just like today or the last like 20 years?
It's happening. No,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah, yeah.
they're ready. They're ready to take over their country.
Yeah. 100%.
And the people that are trying to push that to happen are more of the intelligence community, the same intelligence community. They want chaos. They want death, destruction. It's very obvious what they want, frankly. So anyway, I don't know how we got onto that, but I saw that I was arguing with a friend of mine, and I was like, let me just ask these guys about
this. There is, for all of my life, this shame somehow of if you say any negative thing about any Jewish person, let alone any group, God forbid it be three, then you hate all Jews. And this is not any different than if you don't think George Floyd was a saint, then you hate all black people. And if you think
he was a criminal.
Exactly. If you think the obvious truth that he is a violent criminal, drug addict who did everything in the world to bring this on himself, including
a woman.
Yeah, right. Then, and you know that to be true because at any point in your life you've looked at the truth of the matter, and you don't feel bad about that it needs to be okay to say, hey, look, there are a bunch of Jews who do not have good things in mind for the United States, and maybe we should tell them to fuck themselves.
Well, Netanyahu is openly saying to people that he owns President Trump and that President Trump is his lapdog.
Correct.
I mean, he's saying it. He's openly saying it. I don't even know if he's trying to piss off. I don't know what's happening here. Like I'm trying to figure it all out, right? Who's on whose side? And I just know we're like looking at it from a perspective that we don't have a seat at the table. And I almost feel like they're doing it on purpose so that we can sit on the sidelines and be like gladiatorial contest. Let's see who we want to win. Right? That's what it feels like.
There is some part that is definitely that. Megyn Kelly gave an interview, I don't know, this last year, sometime in the last 6 months. And she hadn't talked to Trump in, I don't know, since that interview since the debate in 2020 or whatever, when she asked, or 2016 even, when she asked about calling women pigs and all that other stuff. And Trump said, only Rosie O'Donnell, right? And at some point in the past, I don't know, 2 years or so, she sees Trump and she's talking to him. And he comes up, hey, Megan, it's great to see you, this, that, and the other. And as he's walking away, he turns around and he says, Megan, maybe it's not a good thing if they're not talking about us. So yeah, a lot of this is production. A lot of this is, let's get you all ginned up. A lot of this is, how much can we keep you distracted with stupid things? And that's probably going to stay true because there's no small quantity of people who want to turn on their TV and see, and this is the end of their interaction with politics, is they want to see Donald Trump go, only Rosie O'Donnell, and then everybody cheers and everyone donates and they feel like they did the thing. And a lot of money exchanges hands because, but she was mean or he was mean to the person that I liked. And as long as we keep doing that, as long as we keep clapping like seals and sending them money for having these epic ownage moments, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully. You want to hear Comey tell us how guilty he is?
Sure.
Which time?
What?
Play it.
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
I'm gonna pistol whip you like George Floyd hit that pregnant woman.
Play it.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
This guy is a sociopath.
Yeah.
And the reason why he said, I have great faith in the judicial system is because they will rig the system and he will get off.
Oh, yeah. I'd have great faith in the system if I was him. You can't possibly lose.
Judges are awful. They're awful. And not 10% or 20%, 90%, 95%.
Yeah. There's that goes to a thing that I hear a lot is, but there's these handful, right? You need to understand that most of the people who have been appointing judges in this country for the past, at least since Reagan, all right, have been doing so with the express purpose of getting the government to be able to do whatever they want. I remember when Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett, I was going through her jurisprudence because I just really enjoy doing boring stuff like that. And the only through line that I could find is that if the government did it, it was right, according to Amy Coney Barrett. And that was it, with 1% of exceptions. And so with that kind of mentality, what are you going to get when you go after Comey, right? Well, the government did that. Comey was just the arm. Like he's fine. He must have been doing what he was supposed to be doing. And this is the kind of thing that we have looked for in judges. This is the kind of thing that we have looked for in writing law, in searching for precedent for at least a generation, if not two. And I'm probably being generous there. I'm a giant fan of pinning this to Woodrow Wilson because it's at that point things really start to go off the rails. But you need to understand, again, back to the scope of the problem, right? If you think you're going to go to court and find justice, having ever been to court for any reason, that's not what you're going to find there. Part of the problem with that is that the people who appoint decent judges and justices appoint people who love the Constitution and are relatively passive, which is their job. It's what they're supposed to be doing. And when the enemies of this country appoint judges, they appoint very active, very activist judges who go out of their way to take cases, to help our, the opposition to this country judge shop so that they can make rulings that establish precedent so that tomorrow somebody can come by and get injustice in court. And that game has been going on, again, best case scenario for 50 years, more like 110.
Nothing, Tommy? I'm pixelated. I don't know
You are
what just
pixelated.
happened.
I mean,
You are.
I'll absolutely.
Speaking of returning to the 80s.
No, I mean, if we're going to talk about Woodrow Wilson.
What happened to me? David Christmas.
I think you're beautiful.
You're so beautiful. If that fixes it. No? All right. I got another video for you. Want to hear it? This is actually funnier about Comey. This is a while ago. Let's go ahead and play it.
I don't know. Director Comey, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Jesse Waters from Fox has a question.
Yeah.
Why do you want an 86 Trump?
All right.
Director?
I'm not taking questions like that now.
But why would you
Just signing the book.
Why would you post that? Director Comey, how was your interview with the Secret Service?
You want the book signed, really?
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it, bud.
Can you sign my seashell too? Which beach is this that you're going to? You find a Kamala seashell, 8647. This is a politically charged beach there, right?
Be well.
Jordan, the seashell? You don't want to sign it?
Have a night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night. Thank you. Good night, Director.
And on top of that, I want you to see this. This is, you remember when Comey put that shell thing out?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a shell formation that Elon found. He was out talking to President Trump. And he just walked by and he saw President Trump. So you can see where President Trump was out there just kind of arranging this stuff with the shells on the beach.
I was going to pull up a Woodrow Wilson quote. We know about I think Dawn and I talked about this actually probably on one of the first shows we did together, but we know about the Eisenhower speech, which I believe was January 17th, 1961, military-industrial complex. And then if you go a little bit deeper, right, you can find Smedley Butler, the most decorated Marine of all time, War is a Racket speech. Joe, you're completely frozen, by the way. The war is a racket speech. You go, well, that's fucked. That's 30 years prior. Well, you can go about another 15 years prior to that to Woodrow Wilson. Since I entered politics, I have chiefly had men's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of something. They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. And there's two ways to kind of digest that. You can say, oh, it's worse than anything we've ever known, is black-pilled to the core. Or you can look at that and go, there's the president saying that there's an interlocked mechanism that runs the world and it's so dark you better not talk about it. And I'm reading that a century and 6 years later. So there's two ways to look at it. It's gonna, or you go back to Deuteronomy, go a little bit further back, and you can say, oh, look, they're talking about the same problems we have, and we're still here. Wow. So
we're still here. We're still here, but let's not kid ourselves.
No,
like we're here, but there are massive issues that we're dealing with today that frankly are beyond what they dealt with a century ago. They're just way beyond.
Correct.
Indeed.
And we're here and we're dealing with them.
I don't think it is generally helpful to turn this into such an abstraction as to say that we're dealing with evil. But in the end, we're dealing with evil. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. How it
will always work.
Indeed. Right. And until Jesus returns and goes, okay, we're done. That's how it's going to work. And
correct.
Back to a point from earlier, this is a big part of why there is not a panacea. There's not a push this button and win. Your opposition is not going away. It's entrenched. It's been there. And look, so are you. Okay. You're here. You didn't give up. You care at all, which is leaps and bounds above what they want you to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fight's not over till it's over. I hear tell that it's the boomer advice of the age to tell you to go listen to Jocko's Good. But if you really feel like giving up, turn it on. You know what? I am still breathing. You know what? I can still get back in the fight. You know what? I can still do the thing. Do it, whatever it is. For years and years and years, one of the things that I was preaching the hardest is do something, do anything, right? And no, spoiler alert, not all things are going to work out. You are going to fail. Specifically, if you're jumping into this game, there's an active, organized effort who hates you, and they want you to fail. it's not over till you're dead. Okay. There's always another day. There's always another fight. There's always another thing you can do until you decide that there isn't. When you give up, then it's over.
Correct.
Until then, yeah, you're fighting the same evil that we fought for 2,000, 3,000, whatever years, however long you think we've been here. You are fighting the same thing, and it's not going to go away. And sometimes we're going to lose, and sometimes we're going to win, unless we all give up.
And I mean, even just in my immediate life, I can't explain it, but I look at like where I was when I started the podcast. I don't know, 50, 60 pounds overweight, still seeing a therapist every week, living with my parents at age 30 because I was still suicidal after losing my brother to suicide, working at a liquor store in my 30s, making minimum
That's what
wage.
I would have done. I was suicidal. I was worked at a liquor store.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where I am. And I'm looking at like the talks Don and I would have then. And we'd have these talks about don't give up. And now here we are 5 years later. And it's not just that I haven't given up, but I'm still here. It's like, well, what else has happened? Oh, I've lost most of the weight. I'm sober. I've found God again. I'm closer to my family. The podcast is actually paying my bills, and I'm still alive. So it's not only have I not given up, but I can't hook me up to a lie detector. I can't tell you that it's gotten worse. I can say it's been hard. I can say it's been harder than ever, and it's very easy to feel the seductive creep of it's over and it can't get better. But I can only speak from my own experiences. And I'm here. My life has gotten better every year. It's been unimaginably difficult, but I'm here and it's going forward. And to what Don said, if you can find anyone, I'd say right now we've each found two. That alone, you go, okay, I'm not entirely. If you're entirely alone, it starts to get hard. We find one person who's pushing forward. So that's what I'm talking about.
Hold on a second. I love life. I love it. I got 3 dogs. I just got a new puppy. A puppy's pretty amazing. Little corgi.
Yeah.
I put him on the show yesterday. Don, you missed him. You have to go back and watch it.
And I will.
I find it humorous. Like I get upset over it because I don't like it. But I don't care. I mean, if we're being honest, I like to fight.
Of course.
I like to fight. I like fighting evil. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have made a good person to shoot stormtroopers. Choo, 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 choo. In Star Wars. I do. I like the idea that there's purpose in going after bad people and building stuff, like doing good stuff to help people too. So no, I don't think it's
it's real. It's not con ink. It's why am I doing this? Because I know it's the right thing to do.
But con ink is pretty retarded. I mean,
they're retarded. They're gay. I have no respect for them. That's not real. This is real. That's my point.
Allie says, sometimes you stress me out, Joe, if I'm being honest. I don't stress you out. You stress me out. Stop.
But that's what dealing with evil is. It's stressful.
You got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. Okay. We got some more stuff to go over before we clock out here. Ready?
Let's ride.
The Bibi got up at the United Nations in New York and he wanted to talk. Did you guys hear what happened?
No.
Oh. Could play it.
Some in the crowd there that was motivated.
Order in the hall.
And he will take the speech. We will listen to it here, and we'll have analysis for you on the other side.
Please, order in the hall. Please, order in the hall.
Okay, so I just want you to know they were not clapping for Netanyahu.
It's disorder.
They were clapping for all the people leaving the speech.
All right, what you're seeing here is the big walkout from the UN General Assembly, Sandra, because this actually has happened before to Prime Minister Netanyahu. You can see that the applause is coming from the Israelis as they sit there and watch these individuals decide that they can't sit and listen to a speech.
And trying to get order as Benjamin Netanyahu looks ready to deliver his speech. He is watching on.
Okay, 95% of the people left. It was just the Israelis left. And a couple people that were frozen in their chairs because they had an AIPAC sticker on their forehead.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
It was awesome.
That's hilarious.
Maybe we're learning.
Yeah,
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe.
Don, can we stand on the side of the devil still, though? You know, because you can't do the other side either. You can't. You know, do you know who actually funds Hamas? It's Israel.
Yeah.
So
and it has been forever.
Forever.
Oh, yeah.
And so, there's what? I mean, we are literally witnessing the destruction of people, the killing of people indiscriminately by people that fund it so that they can create the problem, so that they can service the problem by killing more people.
Correct.
So I have a probably unpopular take on that.
All right, hit me.
The past 5 years, the lesson that people should probably learn is that when people who are not America go to war, horrific things happen. Because that is what happens everywhere, all the time, since at least Vietnam. If there is a war, it is, burn the cities to the ground, kill every living thing, and then pave over it, build parking lots and whatever the local equivalent of a Walmart is. And there is a comfortability that Americans have with Americans going to war because we don't do that. We play whatever game we've been playing since Korea, really. And so we have this sort of softer, gentler view of war where it's acceptable to say, for the president of the United States to say, if someone shoots at you but drops their weapon, they're no longer an enemy combatant. And that is a real thing that happened while I was there, no less. And so we get this, we can go. People have police actions and all these kinds of things. There is a truth that we should acknowledge. If you're going to start a war, you should expect what's happening in Gaza. You should, because for all of human history, that's what war looked like. It is indiscriminate killing. It is all kinds of slaughter, horrible, horrible things. With a handful of exceptions, the people will point to, the Roman Empire or whatever. Oh, but they were taking over the land and creating a tax base. And yes, they were doing that. They were effectively creating colonies as opposed to going to a legitimate war with somebody else. And I say this because the next time you hear someone crying for war, this is what they're asking for, whether they think so or not. They are saying, we need to destroy everything taller than 6 feet and kill everything that weighs more than 6 pounds. And that is the plan, right? Because if you spend time with war history, this is what you should expect. Mm-hmm. And we need to stop, specifically because we have told people in this country for many, many years that what's going to happen is, we're going to go and we're only going to fight ISIS or Al-Qaeda or whomever. And everybody else is going to be fine and they're going to welcome us as liberators or any other stupid statement along those lines. They don't. And the answer, right, if you want to go to war with a civilization, is kill indiscriminately. And that is why you should not go to war, specifically over stupid things. You should not be begging for war over ridiculous nonsense. If you're going to go, not only is this what war has looked like for thousands of years, it's looked that way because if you do this halfway kind of nonsense, right, what you find is the same thing, that has been going around for the past couple of weeks, that there are thousands of Al-Qaeda cells in the United States because we didn't go in there and do what war has been for thousands of years. Now, you can think whether or not we should all you want, But for thousands and thousands of years, that's what war looked like. So the next time that you and your friends are sitting around debating, whether or not we should go to war with a nation A, B, or C, understand that their opinion, even if ours isn't, their opinion is that that's what war means to them. That's what they want to do to us. And every time we go somewhere with our hands tied behind our backs, playing the nice guy game, winning the hearts and minds, doing whatever stupid platitude that a president of the United States is going to say that we're going to do, we are facing people who think that's what should be happening. And sometimes they're just confused that it's not. And sometimes they are killing as many of you based on your rules of engagement as they possibly can. And when everybody else goes to war, no one is playing nice. That's what it looks like.
True story. President Trump was asked about what Netanyahu said about annexing the West Bank, because not only this whole thing was a play on just capturing, right? It was just capturing, taking, basically displacing all the Palestinians.
Correct.
Here's what he had to say when they said, "Hey, they want to annex the West Bank as well." Go ahead, play it.
Did you promise leaders this week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank? Is that something that you?
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay? Yes, please.
We'll see.
All right, so let's end this on a positive note, right?
I was going to say a positive note is that quote from Trump a couple weeks ago, I think, where it's he said, "I'm really thinking about, what are my chances of getting into heaven?" I'd rather have him say that than not. I mean, is it bullshit? Maybe. As Don's seen, as I've seen, as Joe, you've seen, you can turn back to God at any time.
I think he is, but I think he's worn out a little bit. But
I think so too. But my point is it's something. But sorry, go on.
All right. So recent White House video. I have some bad. Should I do the bad first?
Probably, if you want to close out on a high note.
All right. So this is the Florida stuff. Go ahead and put this up. This is a state attorney in Florida talking about somebody masturbating in a park next to kids. Did you see this?
All things that are wrong are not illegal. And I'm not standing before you today telling you that what happened in that park was wrong. But I am standing before you today telling you that
it's not in both ears. I don't think people can hear it.
I could hear it fine.
All right. Basically, the video says, we didn't watch the whole thing. Want to watch the whole thing? Let's watch the whole thing. All right.
I'm gonna pistol whip you, Austin.
But
all things that are wrong are not illegal. And I'm not standing before you today telling you that what happened in that park was wrong. But I am standing before you today telling you that I trust the word of the attorney who was assigned to this case when he said, although those actions were wrong, he could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they were illegal.
This piece of trash is a Soros-backed state attorney, Monique Worrell. And this is the problem with someone who is just evil. Not saying it's wrong. And guess what state she's in?
She's in Florida.
Florida! She's in Florida. This is why I say, I mean, we act like, oh yeah, Florida's this great state. Come on now. They're all the same. We're not going to get to the bottom of it until we get free and fair elections on paper, in person, with an ID, right? And get rid of the machines and mail-in ballots so we can elect real people to real positions of authority. That's it. Otherwise, we're just slaves. And let's just be slaves then.
Counterpoint. My good friend, as you've met, Joe, Basil Boz and a bunch of other special forces guys since 1993 have been kicking down doors and physically liberating children from these sick fucks that would do the things like masturbate in front of them.
Yeah.
So the counterpoint is there's unimaginable evil, and I can't say it's wrong. And then you have these guys doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, but my point is that this is someone that's supposed to. This is.
I understand.
We're in a lawless society, right? So we have to look at this from the standpoint that they're letting people run amok on us.
I understand that, and if you look at the demon, you can also find, and I'm not putting that on you. I'm saying you're also going to find the extreme good.
Oh yeah, Boz is
find
good.
the men doing it. So it's.
Yeah, I'd bring a shovel for both those men.
Yeah.
So to give you a more acute to the situation piece of good news, the state attorney general immediately said, no, that is very illegal. And so there is at least hypothetically something going to be done. Now, don't get me wrong, talk is cheap. We'll see where this goes. But there is at least somebody in the DOJ in Florida who is saying, no, we're not doing that. And no, we're not accepting that.
Then fire that attorney.
As I recall, she has already been relieved once for refusing to prosecute crime. So
fire her.
There's at least some grounds to say that they will do that. We'll see what comes after that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. More good news. This is funny. Recent White House video released supporting ICE and tying illegals to a fun little game. Let's go and play it.
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Our hearts so true, our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon.
How
White House
about
meme
that?
team is amazing.
Then there was this other one where there's recent video of them using the app Match and linking Democrats and illegals. Let's play that.
I'm gonna take a little time to look around me. I've got nowhere left to hide. It looks like love has finally found me. Can't stop now. I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what
He put the White House at the very end. It's
I
like a
can
match made in heaven.
I could happily say I've never actually seen the user interface of Tinder before. I can.
Is that Tinder?
Yeah,
I have no idea. I presume you have.
flame is.
I mean, I'm married 23 years, guys. You won't find me on any of those apps ever.
I'm not, and I'll never be on one of those fucking apps. I have a biology degree. I'm aware.
You should be married then. You know that your clock is running out, bro. You better find someone quick.
I'm very aware. I'm very aware. But
we gotta find you a wife.
I know, and I talked to God, and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of doing this whole trying to battle the Antichrist through a podcast thing. So I'm balancing. I'm trying to.
All right. Well, we're out of time. So
yeah,
Don, how do people follow you?
You can find me on X at Hilo Procurement, and you can find me on Rumble if I ever get back to making content. Which, at bare minimum, that guy, where is it? That guy is just murderously trying to get me back to. I think it's coming. I don't know when. I'm not making any promises, but rumble.com/plebmedia. Everything else I have been banned off of. So if you see somebody else claiming to be Pleb Media, it's probably not me.
Hell yeah.
Well, I just followed you. So there you go.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, it's Helo, Helo, procurement, Procurement.
So like helicopter procurement.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Shout out to the guys over on Pilled. I've not forgotten you guys at all. He says, where are you? Why aren't you looking at the comments?
I never look at comments.
Yeah.
I never look at the live chat ever.
I usually do.
I don't.
Somebody just said, Joe, you're not on here. Like, yes, I am. Let's see if I can find it.
See, and that's why you don't look at the live chat.
I never, ever.
Very
ever.
true. All right. Let's say hi to you guys. There we go. Yeah, they said, come on over. I was like, okay, I'm coming over. So let me just read some of their comments. Andy has been through hell. Great guy, knows most about trans Tifa. Yeah, he has. Who else we got in here? How long did you go write a letter to Tina? Our team is in contact with her pretty frequently. Can I ask? How long ago did you write a letter to Tina? Who wrote a letter to Tina? Mall B Patriot. Wrote Tina, it was kind of long. I was wondering if she'll write me back. Yes, she'll write you back. She'll absolutely write you back. But if you don't hear from her, make sure you just write it again and send it again. Okay. Yeah, sorry, guys. I didn't mean to not see your comments. Okay. You should never let me go through comments while we have the thing still up. Let me see what else we got here. Welcome to the Peanut Gallery. Say again. Okay, you guys aren't saying anything. You're talking to each other. You're not asking any questions. Any questions for Don before he leaves? We are kind of nuts here. Okay, gotcha.
That's all right. Yeah, it's that is a cost of doing business in politics. Is you end up a little bit loony, and it's okay. It's good for you, right? If your normie friends don't think you're a little bit nuts, you're probably doing it wrong.
So I just want to say this, if I can, Tommy, the brigade of unlikes, or one person who really likes you, who said that you're doxing him. This wacko is back.
Oh yeah,
because you're on the show.
Yeah, no, he's don't give him the attention he wants. Don't say his name, but I can count over 10 doctors, several of who have been on Joe Rogan, who have personally told me they've reported him to the FBI because he's fucking insane.
He's insane.
And I legitimately, these names would, they're in the administration. That's how big they are. Like, don't say it. Nah, it's not a woman, dude. Trust me.
That's Allie, and her children are 18. No. Tommy needs a nice. You're 31, right, Tommy?
35.
35. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. 19. Yeah, she's 19. Sorry. No.
I'll do this on my own. Thank you.
No, she was looking out for you.
No, very nice. No, thank you. Respectfully.
I will tell you that Allie's got good genes, and her girls are beautiful, but they're too young for you.
I'm sure they're beautiful God's children. I want nothing to do with them. I'm friends with the guys that I'm friends with the guys that kill pedophiles.
Hold on, Chris's son is a good-looking boy too, and he's a good kid. He's super good kid. Yeah, he's a God-fearing man. Oh, look, we might even have a what is it? A Swipe right. My daughter is too socialist. Okay, we're not going there. Nope, we found one. All right. Don, thanks for coming on with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Hope you have a great weekend. I want everybody to understand we're going to have. And by the way, while I'm sitting here, we need some more thumbs up on Rumble. I see all you guys. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Oh, Chris, your son is 6'6". Allie, we should actually, you guys should talk. All right. Don, thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate you very much. We'll have you on again.
Absolutely. Sounds great, gentlemen.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much, guys.
Tommy. It's a great dude.
Good to go? Hey, yeah, no, Don's awesome. Are we
Yeah.
still on?
Yeah, you got to pray us off. You good with that?
Mm-hmm. I'll do a quick one. It's not really a prayer. It's what I say. It's the first thing I've trained myself to. It's the first thing I say when I wake up in the morning. And it is simply, God, thank you for a warm bed. And thank you for a brain that works and for a heart that pumps blood to make the world a better place. I say that to myself every morning. And if you have nothing else, at least, hey, thanks for being here. I'd say it every morning. At least make sure I get the one I really like. I'm like, hey, thank you for the warm bed. And I say, thank you for a brain that works and a heart that pumps blood so that I may make the world a better place.
Well, so my friend Dave Bear, who, by the way, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. He has cancer. And they've gone from giant cell sarcoma, sorry, to let me tell you what they said. He has it's a carcinosarcoma. And so he's admitted to the hospital for chemo for a week, then off for 2, then repeat 4 times. So he's probably one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet, man. Super, super nice guy. Really young. 3 young kids. And so just if we could say, if you guys could all pray for Dave Bear, I'd appreciate it. He's an amazing guy. And had it not been for Dave, I wouldn't be here. Like, he was the doctor that got me through things when I had COVID in November of 2020. It was really bad. So, yeah. All right. Tommy, thanks for being on.
Thank you,
brother.
sir.
All right.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bless you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Oh, wait, Ali. Jada is having a girl. Girl. It is having a girl.
Leave me out of
I'm going to be an Uncle Joe.
Oh.
All right. God bless you. We'll see you guys all.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
One more thing. Oh, is DCF podcast coming up? Oh, Saturday we have DCF podcast. Yeah, at noon. All right. God bless you. See you soon.